I do not accept disorder in my body. I establish divine order by my word. If your reports trouble you, I have a higher report. If fear has spoken, I answer with law. Remain with me. I will place the exact decrees on your lips and peace in your pulse. You will learn to command your body with the authority God gave you. I will give you the exact words to speak to your blood, your heart, your nerves. I will show you how to cast the burden of fear, how to refuse disorder without strain, and how to hold the picture of perfect health until it appears. If you have felt ruled by numbers, dread, or delay, today you will feel ruled by truth, peace, and power. I speak from law, scripture, and proven practice. Before this hour ends, you will have a daily decree, a way to break panic in one sentence, and a clear path to divine order in your body. I know how the mind runs when a report arrives. The imagination paints dark scenes, the heart races, the mouth speaks defeat. But life is not a battle. It is a game governed by spiritual law. What you speak, you set. What you picture, you invite. Many try to fix the body with fear, yet fear is inverted faith. I will teach you the higher way. Speak truth with love, refuse resistance, and let the divine design, already written within you, come to pass. This is not pep talk, it is practice. I will walk you through it, step by step. Here is our path. First, I will reveal the law, why your word rules your cells, and why divine order answers a fearless voice. Next, I will show you how to cast the burden, how to drop the heavy yoke of worry in one line so your subconscious stops replaying trouble. Then, we will practice spoken decrees for the blood, simple, child-level words that carry power. After that, we will cleanse the picture, how to stop seeing disease and start seeing the perfect pattern God planned for you. Finally, we will set a daily order for your body and close the door to fear. Along the way, I will share the story of a woman who changed a frightening report without strain, only by holy speech and quiet obedience. I will also give you one sentence that breaks midnight panic and another that steadies you while you wait. Stay to the end. The closing decree is a key many overlook, and it unlocks quick results. Now that you've heard me say it plain, your word rules your blood. Come closer, because here's something most people completely miss. They try to fix the body while their mouth keeps planting weeds. They watch numbers, they repeat bad news, they make little jokes against themselves, and then they wonder why the field keeps bringing the same crop. What I'm about to share might seem counterintuitive at first, because the world trains you to chase symptoms, but spirit trains you to set law. There are two kinds of listeners with me right now. One group studies the problem, rehearses the fear, and speaks from panic. The other group blesses the body, commands divine order, and speaks from dominion. The difference? They understand this one living truth. My word sets the pattern my cells must obey. Why does this matter? Because if I speak defeat, I hire defeat as a servant. If I argue with the body, I chain myself to the very thing I'm trying to escape. Getting this wrong looks like long nights, tight breath, scrolling for answers, and waking up tired in the soul. But when I get it right, when I speak truth with calm weight, peace returns to my pulse, order returns to my blood, and my day stops bowing to fear. I'm not guessing. I've watched worried faces soften in minutes when the tongue turns from complaint to command. I've seen a woman come to me with trembling hands and a racing heart. I gave her one line, simple and strong. She blessed her body with it in the morning and before sleep. In a week, her fear lost its grip. In 2 weeks, her hands were steady enough to write me a thank you. She didn't beg. She didn't bargain. She declared. That's what success looks like here. Not strain, not superstition, but steady speech that sets divine order and then rests. So what is the move? It is very simple. I stop speaking as a victim, and I speak as a lawgiver under God. I do not micromanage the body, I establish the result. I do not say, I hope. I say, Divine order is established in my mind, body, and affairs, now. I do not chatter with fear. I answer fear once and close the door. This aligns with your deepest desire because you don't want more facts. You want the peace of a settled word, the quiet joy of a body that listens. Your word is your wand, pointed at your blood. And how do I know this works? Hear a small story. A young man wrote me that his chest felt like a drum in a storm. He kept telling friends, "My nerves are shot." I told him, "Your subconscious has no sense of humor. It will take you at your word." We traded one sentence. "Peace rules my pulse." He said it each time he reached for his phone. Day 3, he caught himself before the old phrase escaped. Day 5, he wrote back. I felt a hush inside, like the room turned down the noise. No charts, no fight, just a new word carrying a new picture. That's proof enough for the humble heart, and the humble heart gets the quickest results. Now let me ask you a question. Haven't you heard your own words change your body in a moment? A harsh sentence tightens the neck. A kind blessing loosens the shoulders. That's not magic tricks. That is law. And here is your gentle pattern interrupt right now. Place your hand over your heart and speak with me, slow and clear. Peace rules my pulse. Do you feel that small lift? That's the law answering. That's only the doorway. In a moment, I'll show you why this works under heaven's order, not as a superstition, but as a spiritual science as old as "let there be light." Hold this picture with me while we walk forward. My cells are faithful servants. My tongue is the foreman. God is the architect. If the foreman shouts confusion, the servants scatter. If the foreman speaks the plan, the servants build. If this is true, and it is, then your next question is simple. Why do words move matter at all? Stay with me, because when you grasp this, you'll stop arguing with appearances and start issuing calm decrees that land. Now listen closely. This next part changed everything for me, and it will change everything for you, because I'm about to open the reason beneath the results, the why that makes your simple sentence carry power. Let's step into it together. Why words move matter. Listen closely, because I'm going to show you the hidden gear that turns the whole machine, and when you see it, you'll stop pushing at life from the outside, and you'll start speaking from the throne within. Here's what most miss. The body is a faithful servant, and the servant takes orders from the picture held in the heart and the words spoken by the mouth. So if my words paint fear, my cells hurry to build fear, and if my words paint peace, my cells hurry to build peace. And that is why I tell you, as simple as a child can learn, your tongue sets the weather in your blood, and your breath carries the decree into every room of your body. Get this wrong and you spend long hours checking, counting, fretting, making little speeches to your friends about what's wrong, and the subconscious, dear, obedient, literal, writes it all down and says, "Very well." And it keeps replaying the scene you ordered. But get this right and the house grows quiet. The pulse learns a steady song, your sleep returns, and you walk through the day like one who knows the king's seal is on her words. Why does it work? Because the image maker in you, the holy imagination, takes your spoken word as blueprint. The subconscious has no sense of humor and no taste for drama. It only builds what you bid it build, so I never give it rubble. I hand it clean stone. I hand it a clear picture, and I bless the work. For I learned long ago that life is a game played by law, and the law is as sure as dawn. What I plant with my word, I will harvest in my flesh, and I refuse to sow weeds. Now let's make this plain. What do? I talk to my blood like I talk to a good child, firm and kind, and now I say, divine order is set in you. I say, peace rules my pulse. I say, the life of God flows in my blood. It cannot fail. And I say it without strain, without hurry, without a tremble. Because the power is not in noise, the power is in knowing. And this matches your desire, because you don't want a maze. You want a door. You don't want 10 steps. You want one word spoken right. How do I know this bears fruit? I will tell you a small, clean story. A woman came to me with a storm in her chest and a river of fear in her talk. She told everyone, "My nerves are broken," and her body obeyed that sentence day and night. So I traded her a new sentence for the old one, and I made her promise to speak it each time the old phrase reached for her tongue. She laid her hand on her heart and said, "Peace rules my pulse." And she said it at the sink, at the door, at the mirror. And on the third day, she wrote me that the noise inside had dropped like rain easing after a hard wind. And on the seventh day, she caught herself smiling at nothing at all because the inner weather had turned. Do you hear it? That is not luck. This is law. Now let's do a small act together. Pattern interrupt, holy and simple. Place your hand over your heart. Breathe once like you trust the air, and repeat after me, slow as a bell. Peace rules my pulse, and now over your lower ribs. My blood is in divine order now, and listen one beat to the stillness that answers. For even a whisper of truth has weight, and when the tongue and the picture agree, the body obeys. And if a thought tries to argue, I smile and say, that is not my story, and I return to my word, because the architect does not stop the build to argue with a rumor. Remember this rhythm. Why? Because words sow and reap in the body. What? Speak simple, present, loving law. How? Give one clean decree, repeat it steady, and let the divine design do the rest. And as you feel this settle, you're ready for the shortest road of all, the road without strain, where I don't push at the bricks, I only set the plan. Divine order itself. Let me open that door for you next. Now that you feel how a clean word turns the inner weather, come with me one step deeper, because this next part changed everything for me, and it will save you years of strain. Here's what most people completely miss. They try to manage every small piece. They fuss with the how. They chase 10 little levers at once, and their speech turns busy and thin. But the law doesn't answer noise. The law answers order. So I stop pushing on the bricks and I set the plan, and the plan is simple. I establish divine order. Why does this matter so much? Because when you obsess over the how, your mind knots up, your body tightens, your sleep breaks, and you start talking like a foreman who lost the blueprint. But when you set divine order, you hand the job back to the architect. You let the perfect pattern take the lead, and you feel a holy ease come over you, the kind that says, this is already arranged. And that ease is not laziness, it's power under guidance. The consequence of getting this wrong is more panic, more checking, more stories that feed fear. The fruit of getting it right is quiet, steady steps and quick corrections without drama, like a river that clears itself after rain. So what is the move? Hear me plain. I don't micromanage the body. I name the result and rest in it. I don't beg for tiny changes. I declare the whole truth. I say, divine order is set in my blood now. And I say it once, like a queen says, open. And then I live like the door is open. I say, divine order governs my heart, my nerves, my whole house of flesh, and I refuse to add fear words after it. This connects to your deepest goal because you don't want more to-do lists. You want a key that turns the lock, and divine order is that key, short, pure, heavy with authority. And how do I move with it? I'll show you a way so simple a child can do it. First, I cast the weight of worry. Then I set the order. Then I give thanks and do the next kind thing I'm led to do. A woman once came to me with a brow like a fist and a mouth full of what if. She checked and never felt better. So I traded her a new rhythm, morning, noon, and night. She said, divine order is established in my mind, body, and affairs, now. And every time her hand reached for a search or a fear phrase, she stopped, breathed once, and set the order again. On day 3, she noticed she was moving slower, but getting more done. On day 7, she wrote, I woke up before the alarm and felt like the house had been cleaned. And she meant the house of her mind. Do you see it? No strain, no long speeches, just one royal sentence that tells every servant cell what to build and where to place it. Let's do a holy pattern interrupt right now. Roll your shoulders up, hold, and drop. Let the jaw unclench. Place your hand over your lower ribs and speak with me, slow and steady. Divine order is set in my blood now. And wait one quiet beat as the decree goes to work. And if a thought tries to argue, smile and say, that is not my story. Because the foreman doesn't debate rumors, The foreman follows the plan. Remember the rhythm we're using. Why? Order ends the scramble and gives you your peace back. What? One clear decree that names the finished work. How? Cast the burden, set the order, give thanks, and walk in step with the next simple lead. And if you're thinking, but I still feel the weight, good, because you've just opened the door to our next piece, the quickest way to drop that weight so your decree lands like a stone. Stay with me, because when we cast the burden on the Christ within, the law moves fast, the noise breaks, and your word falls into the body like seed in rich ground. Now that you see how divine order is the shortest road, let me show you the step that clears the path so your decree can land with power. Because here is something almost everyone misses. They try to speak the word while still clutching the burden. They try to bless their blood while still holding fear in the fist of the heart. And it is like pouring clean water into a muddy glass. The word gets diluted and the body keeps hearing the noise underneath. So I tell you plain, before you decree, you must drop the weight, you must cast the burden, and only then will the law have free passage to move. And this sounds so simple that many overlook it, but it is the pivot between words that bounce and words that build. Why does it matter so much? Because a fearful decree is like shouting orders in a storm. The servants cannot hear. The subconscious is still obeying the thunder of worry, and your results lag. But when you cast the burden, when you drop the fight, you open a channel, and the decree goes in like seed into tilled soil, ready to sprout without resistance. Get this wrong, and you will wear yourself out repeating sentences that never seem to take root, saying the right words but feeling the wrong weight, and you will wonder why nothing moves. Get it right, and you will feel the hush come before the healing. You will sense a release as if something heavy slid off your shoulders, and suddenly the same sentence you said 100 times before drops into the depths and begins to work. So what is the move? I make it simple. I say, I cast this burden of fear on the Christ within, and I go free. And I say it as many times as it takes until I feel the inner weather shift, until the storm is quieted, and then I decree once, like a queen sealing a letter. I do not beg, I do not bargain, I do not explain to God why I am afraid, because God needs no explanation. God is the pattern, the order, the ever-present help, and the Christ within is the burden-bearer who takes the weight so the decree can travel clear. This matches your longing because you do not want to wrestle all night. You want to sleep in peace. You want to wake with quiet blood and steady breath, and this is the bridge. And how do I know it works? Let me tell you a story. A student once came to me trembling. She could not close her eyes without pictures of disaster crowding her. Her nights were a battlefield, and I gave her one line only. I cast this burden on the Christ within, and I go free. And I told her, say it until the storm stops arguing. And she spoke it 20 times that night. And on the 21st, she felt the weight drop, and her chest opened like a window to air, and she slept until morning for the first time in weeks. When she woke, she said it once more, calm and steady, and her day carried a peace she had forgotten was possible. Do you hear? No strain, no tricks, just one clean transfer of weight, and the Christ within bore it, as he always does when we let him. Now let's practice this holy pattern interrupt together. Close your eyes if you can, breathe in, and on the out-breath speak with me. I cast this burden of fear on the Christ within, and I go free. And pause to feel the hush that follows. If a thought of doubt rises, answer it once with the same sentence and then go on. Do not argue with shadows. This is the law of non-resistance, the law that says, I do not fight appearances, I speak, the higher truth and rest. And the rest is not laziness, it is obedience to law. Remember the rhythm. Why? Because fear chokes the decree. What? Cast the burden to clear the channel. How? Say the line until the inner weather changes. Then decree once, calm and royal, and go on with your day. And here's the bridge I want you to feel now. Once the burden is dropped, the decree lands like seed in rich earth. And then the next move is to act in agreement with what you have spoken, because the field doesn't just wait. It starts growing, and you must walk like one who expects a harvest. Stay with me, because now I will show you how to act rich in health, even before the fruit is seen, and that one step multiplies the speed of your results. Now that you have learned to cast the burden, to drop the weight, and let the Christ within carry what your hands were never made to hold, I want you to hear me on this. The decree does not float in a vacuum. It calls for a corresponding step, a sign in the visible that matches what you spoke in the invisible, and this is where many falter. They speak the right words, but then walk like beggars. They bless their blood, but then act as though nothing has changed. And that split between word and walk delays their harvest. But when your word and your step agree, when your speech sets the law and your action bears witness to it, the law moves swiftly, and peace fills the gap where fear once camped. So why does this matter? Because if you continue to move like one under fear after you have cast it, you drag the burden back into your arms. But if you move like one already free, you prove your decree. And the subconscious, which obeys pictures and tone more than anything else, says, "Yes, it is so." And your body follows like a servant following the bell. So what is the move? It is simple, but it requires courage. I breathe as if I am already healed. I walk into the day as if my body is already in divine order. I bless my food and water as if they are medicine charged with life. I sit upright with poise as if my blood is already flowing rich and free. I act as if the harvest is already breaking ground, because acting as if is not pretending. It is faith in motion. Scripture tells us to dig ditches in the desert before the rain, and the ditches are acts of expectation, physical containers for what we know is on its way. So when I bless my blood, I may lift my cup of water and say, "This is charged with divine love, it strengthens every cell," and then I drink it with thanksgiving. And that act is a ditch for the flood of life that is on its way. And when I rise in the morning, I do not shuffle like a defeated soul. I stretch like one who knows strength is already at work, and that stretch is another ditch dug in the desert, ready for rain. How do I know this bears fruit? I will tell you a story. A woman once came to me with a trembling step, always clutching her chest, always saying, "I cannot, I cannot." And I gave her the burden-casting line, but I also told her, "Act as though it is done. Move as though the Christ within has already lifted you." And she obeyed. She walked around her house slowly but upright, whispering, "Divine order is set in my blood now." And she drank her water as though it were holy wine, and she blessed her sleep before she laid down, saying, "I sleep in safety. I rise in power." And within days she wrote to me that her neighbors remarked, "You look lighter, you walk easier," though she had told no one of her practice. Do you see? The decree went in, the burden was dropped, and her obedient acts watered the seed until the harvest pushed through. Let us do this together right now. Sit a little straighter, lift your chin, breathe deep, and speak with me. Peace rules my pulse, divine order governs my blood. And then let your body rest in that uprightness for one moment, for this is how the subconscious learns, through word, picture, and action agreeing as one. And if you should hear a thought whisper, "But I don't feel it yet," answer it once. That is not my story. My story is divine order fulfilled. And then smile and carry on with the act of faith, because each time you act as though it is done, you are digging ditches for the rain. And the rain always comes when the ground is ready. Remember the rhythm. Why? Because acting in fear drags the burden back. What? Act as if your decree is already settled. How? Small daily gestures that match your words. Bless your food. Bless your water. Walk upright. Stretch in the morning. Lay down at night with thanksgiving. And now, with the burden dropped and the acts aligned, you are ready for the core of this whole message, the living heart of it, the practice of speaking to your blood itself, not in fear, not in strain, but with the calm rhythm of divine authority. And when you learn to talk to your blood like a queen speaks to her court, you will see why I told you at the start. I speak and my cells obey. Stay with me now, because what comes next is the crown of this teaching, the decrees for your blood, your heart, and your nerves. Now that we have laid the foundation, that your word rules your body, that divine order is the shortest path, and that the burden must be cast before the decree can land, I will take you now into the very heart of this teaching, the living center, where the invisible becomes visible and the unseen hand begins to shape your flesh and blood. Because here is the truth most people never dare to practice. Your blood listens, your heart listens, your nerves listen. Every organ and fiber is a servant of the word you speak, and when you address them with the authority of divine law, they bow to it as surely as the sea bows to the tide. What most people do is plead with the body, or curse it, or complain of it, and then wonder why it rebels. But the wise soul does not plead, does not curse, does not whine. She commands with calmness, she blesses with firmness. She speaks to her blood as one who knows it is already aligned with the divine pattern, and the blood, hearing this authority, obeys. Why does this matter so much? Because the body is not your enemy. The body is your field, your temple, and your servant, and it longs for order, it longs for peace, it longs to be told the truth. When you speak defeat into it, it must build defeat. When you speak fear into it, it must build fear. But when you speak life, when you speak love, when you declare divine order, your body obeys because that is the law. It cannot choose otherwise. Get this wrong, and you find yourself in a cycle of dread and disorder, whispering fear to your blood and watching it respond with trembling. Get it right, and you see strength return, peace settle, and even before any outer change, you feel the lift of law working inside you, because the inner weather always shifts first, then the outer follows. So what is the move? It is simple, steady, rhythmic decree. I do not beg, I do not argue, I do not pile on 10 sentences at once. I give one clean command, spoken as though it is already so, and I rest. I say, divine love floods my consciousness with health. Every cell is filled with light, and I feel the glow of it spreading. I say, my blood is rich, pure, free, and in divine order now, and I feel the ease of it flowing. I say, the life of God flows in my blood. It cannot fail, and I rest in the truth of it. These are not poems, they are laws, and the subconscious records them and sets the pattern. I do not monitor, I do not strain, I speak and I rest, for the decree is already alive, already working. And how do I know this bears fruit? I have seen it time and time again. One woman came to me with midnight panic, rising every night to pace the floor, her mind racing and her body trembling. I gave her 3 simple decrees. Divine love floods my consciousness with health. Peace rules my pulse, and I sleep in safety, I rise in power. She spoke them before lying down, and when she woke in the dark, she spoke them again instead of rehearsing her fear. Within a week, she wrote to me that the midnight dread had lost its grip, and though her circumstances had not yet changed, her nights were once again her own. Her mornings began with calm, and she walked through the day with steadier nerves than she had known in months. This is the proof of law. It works in the soul first. It shows itself in peace, and then the peace spreads into the body, into the blood, into the pulse. Let us do this together, right now, because this practice is not a lesson to watch, it is a law to obey. Place your hand over your lower ribs and speak with me. My blood is rich, pure, free, and in divine order now. Pause and breathe, and feel the authority of that decree. Now place your hand over your heart and say, my heart is strong and fearless. It beats the rhythm of God. And listen one beat to the quiet that follows. And now lay your hand lightly over your temple and declare, I am immune to hurt and resentment. My poise is built upon a rock. And smile, because that is a shield you have just set, a word wall the subconscious will obey. Do you feel the shift? It is not drama. It is not noise. It is the calm weight of law moving in your members, and this is the way you must practice, daily, rhythmically, until the old fear has no soil left to grow in. Remember the rhythm. Why? Because the body is obedient to the tongue and must answer the decree. What? Speak simple, strong, present tense words that bless, not beg. How? Practice daily, morning, noon, and night, stopping as soon as fear tries to argue and resuming with thanksgiving. And as you walk this path, you will discover that your blood obeys, not because you strain, but because law is law and truth is truth, and God's design cannot fail. And now that you have tasted the power of these decrees, we will step into the next great key, one most people overlook, but which determines whether your decrees blossom or wither, and that is the picture you hold in your imagination. For words sow seeds, but the picture waters them. And if you hold a picture of fear while speaking words of truth, you choke the harvest. So stay with me, because next I will show you how to cleanse the picture, how to substitute the image of disorder with the divine design. And when you do this, you will feel the law moving not only in your blood, but in your very vision of yourself. Now that you have spoken to your blood with the weight of truth and felt the shift of authority in your own pulse, I must take you into the chamber where the roots of your decrees are fed, because here is where many falter without knowing it. They speak the right words, yet they carry the wrong picture. They decree divine order, but in the secret theater of the mind, they replay the film of disorder, and the subconscious, being faithful but uncreative, simply obeys the picture it is fed. So the words float like seeds thrown on rocky soil, unable to grow, while the imagination waters weeds of fear, and the harvest comes out crooked. But when you learn to cleanse the picture, when you understand the law of substitution, when you hold only the divine design before your inner sight, then the decrees you speak land in rich soil, watered by vision, and your results spring up swiftly because every level of your being is in agreement. Why is this so critical? Because the subconscious does not argue, it does not sift, it does not weigh, it accepts. So if you declare health but picture decline, the subconscious takes the picture as the stronger command, for the image is constant while the words are only occasional. If you joke idly about sickness, if you imagine worst-case scenes, if you study symptoms and rehearse numbers, you are writing a dark script on the screen of the soul, and your body must obey that script. But if you turn your imagination into a holy painter, if you hand it the brush of truth, if you deliberately picture your blood bright and clear, your heart strong and steady, your whole being in radiant order, then your subconscious takes that image as blueprint and builds after it, and your words, when spoken, become reinforcements of a picture already set in stone. Get this wrong, and your decrees feel hollow. They do not stick. They slide off because the picture denies them. Get it right, and your decrees move like thunder following lightning. They are confirmation of what the mind already sees, and the body falls into place without strain. So what is the move? It is the law of substitution. I do not fight the fear picture, I replace it. I do not argue with the nightmare, I swap it for the dream. I see my blood not cloudy but radiant, not sluggish but alive with divine light. I see my report reading normal. I see myself moving with freedom. I see my sleep unbroken and my mornings bright. And when the fear tries to paint over it, I calmly say, that is not my story. And I repaint the canvas with truth. I use short, clean sentences like, I thank God it is so, to anchor the image in thanksgiving. And I never allow idle words that contradict the picture, because every word and every thought is a brushstroke, and I refuse to paint weeds in my own garden. How do I know this works? Hear a simple tale. A woman once lost her peace by imagining herself weak, frail, doomed. She wore the picture like a veil, and even when she said affirmations, her imagination played the wrong film underneath. I told her the story of the widow's veil, how imaging the wrong thing attracts the very result feared, and then I taught her to substitute, to see herself bright, upright, in divine order, to give thanks for the picture, and to dismiss the veil with the words, that is not my story. She practiced daily, drawing the image in her mind of her blood glowing with life, her heart steady, her whole self moving in rhythm with God. And within weeks, the fear that had clung to her lost its grip, not because she fought it, but because she replaced it. The weeds withered because she watered the flowers. Let us do this together right now. Close your eyes and see it. See your blood flowing like a river of light. See it clear and steady, carrying strength to every part of you. See your report stamped normal. See yourself rising in the morning with a smile, walking through the day light-footed, resting at night in calm. Hold that picture, breathe once, and say with me, I thank God it is so, and let that thanksgiving fix the image like ink on the page. And if a shadow tries to creep in, if a doubt whispers, what if? Answer once, that is not my story, and return to your picture, because every time you substitute, you strengthen the truth until the false image has no room left to stand. Remember the rhythm. Why? Because the subconscious obeys pictures as strongly as words. What? Replace fear images with the divine design and hold them in thanksgiving. How? Catch the wrong picture, dismiss it, and substitute the right one, anchoring it with simple words of praise. And as you do this, you will feel the harmony between your decrees and your imagination, and your body, being the faithful servant it is, will obey both. And now that you see how to hold the picture clean, we will move into the practice of setting your daily order, a rhythm of speech and shield that keeps your mind, body, and affairs steady throughout the day, because law is not a one-time event. It is a continual practice. And when you learn the 3-point daily drill, you will feel covered morning, noon, and night, and nothing outside you will be able to pierce the peace you have set within. Stay with me, because the daily order is the armor most forget to put on, and it is the shield that keeps your decrees working without interruption. Now that you have learned how to cleanse the picture and substitute fear with the divine design, I must show you how to set the rhythm of your day, for law answers to consistency, not to whim. One decree is powerful, yes, but a steady order is a fortress, a shield that keeps your mind, body, and affairs aligned from dawn to dark. And this is where so many falter. They speak a word in the morning, but by midday their speech has wandered into fear. By evening their imagination has painted trouble again. And then they wonder why their good seems delayed. But the truth is simple. Without a daily order, the mind drifts back into weeds. With a daily order, the mind is guarded, the tongue is disciplined, the blood is blessed continually, and peace holds its place like a soldier on post. Why does this matter? Because the world will try to plant fear seeds in you every hour, through news, through reports, through idle chatter. And if you do not set a shield, you will find yourself repeating other people's words instead of your own. But if you rise each day with divine order on your lips, reinforce it at noon, and seal it at night, you create a holy rhythm, and rhythm builds reality, just as a drummer sets the march for an army, so your decrees set the march for your body and your life. So what is the move? It is the 3-point daily drill. In the morning, as soon as you rise, before you look at any numbers, before you answer any message, you place your hand on your heart and declare, divine order is established in my mind, body, and affairs, now. And you say it calm, certain, royal, and then you give thanks. At midday, when the hours may feel heavy or the chatter of the world grows loud, you stop for one breath, lift your eyes and say, peace rules my blood and my day. And then you return to your work, carrying that shield. And at night, before you close your eyes, you sweep the soul clean by saying, I forgive all, I sleep in divine care. And you let the Christ within guard your rest. These 3 sentences, simple as they are, anchor your morning, your noon, and your night. And they form a shield that nothing outside you can pierce unless you hand it permission. And how do I know this works? Hear a story. A man came to me worn down, scattered, fearful, always speaking of confusion, always losing his footing in the day. I gave him this 3-point drill and told him to practice it without fail for 3 weeks. At first, he resisted. He said, it seems too simple, but he obeyed. He spoke the order in the morning, the peace at noon, the forgiveness at night. And within days he felt lighter. Within a week his co-workers remarked that he looked different, more at ease, more steady. Within 2 weeks he wrote to me that he had stopped snapping at his family and had begun sleeping without the old interruptions. And by the 3rd week he said, "I feel like my life has found a rhythm I never had before." That rhythm was divine order, steady and sure, established by a daily drill. Now let us do it together right here, so you know the feel of it in your own mouth. Say it with me now. Divine order is established in my mind, body, and affairs, now. Pause and feel the weight of it. At midday, place your hand on your pulse and declare, "Peace rules my blood and my day." Feel hush it brings. And before you sleep tonight, whisper with me, "I forgive all, I sleep in divine care, and lay down like one guarded by angels." For that is the truth of it. This daily order is your fortress, your steady shield, your rhythm of protection. But there is more. Because once your daily drill is set, you must also learn how to lift a shield against sudden attacks of fear, the headlines, the gossip, the idle words that try to slip under your door. And for this, I will give you the seal of immunity, a sentence so strong it has turned lions into angels, a decree that disarms fear on contact. Stay with me, because the seal of immunity is the armor most forget to wear, and without it, the arrows of fear may still find their mark. But with it, you walk through the fire untouched. Now that you know how to set the rhythm of your day, how to anchor the morning in divine order, steady the noon with peace, and close the night with forgiveness, I must place in your hands the final piece of armor, the shield that guards against sudden storms, because here is the truth most forget. The world is loud. It throws arrows of fear through headlines, gossip, idle words, even the stray comment of a friend who does not know the law. And if you do not have a seal set over your heart, those arrows will find their mark. They will pierce your imagination. They will stir up old pictures, and your decrees will feel shaken. But when you wear the seal of immunity, you can walk through a day filled with noise and remain untouched, like Daniel in the lion's den, like the 3 Hebrew children in the furnace, calm, untouched, shielded by the word. Why does this matter? Because one unguarded moment can undo hours of peace if you let it. One idle story can plant a seed of fear. One dark picture can cloud the inner sight, and the body, faithful servant that it is, will try to obey. But when you carry the seal, nothing gets in, nothing foreign, nothing false, because the seal is a decree that stops fear at the threshold. So what is the seal? It is a sentence so clear that the subconscious cannot mistake it, a law so firm that appearances cannot override it. No evil can befall me, for there is no power to hurt. I speak it when the news tries to frighten me. I speak it when a report is handed to me. I speak it when a stray fear tries to knock at my door, and the words close the gate. And if I feel pressed, if the fear seems loud, I add the holy image. I walk up to the lion and find an angel in armor, for that is the truth of appearances. What looks like harm is often an angel disguised carrying a blessing. So I do not run, I do not cower. I walk up and declare the law, and the lion bows. How do I know this works? I have seen it. A student of mine once received a letter that shook her. The words on the page painted pictures of loss, and she felt fear rise in her chest like fire. She remembered the seal. She said aloud, "No evil can befall me, for there is no power to hurt." And she repeated it until the storm broke, until her hands steadied and her breath slowed. Later, she discovered that what looked like bad news was only a delay, not a disaster, and she wrote to me, "The lion was only an angel in armor, carrying a gift I could not yet see." That is the law of immunity. It does not deny appearances. It disarms them. It removes their sting, and it lets you stand steady until the blessing is revealed. Now let us set this seal together, because once you feel it in your own mouth, you will know the calm it brings. Say it with me. No evil can befall me, for there is no power to hurt. Pause and let it sink like stone into water. Now add the picture. Close your eyes and see yourself walking up to the lion, and as you come close, watch its mane melt into light, its roar soften into a hymn, and an angel in shining armor stands where fear once crouched. Open your eyes and know that is the law. Fear turns to blessing when faced with truth. Remember the rhythm. Why? Because sudden arrows of fear can pierce if unguarded. What? Set the seal of immunity with a strong decree. How? Declare it aloud whenever fear tries to enter. Picture the lion as angel and go on with peace. And as you wear this seal, nothing will move you, nothing will shake you, for you are shielded by law. And now that you are covered, morning, noon, and night, sealed against sudden attack, you are ready for the final key, the swiftest medicine of all, obedience to intuition. For decrees set the law, but intuition shows the step. And when you marry the word with obedience, you take the shortest road to your good. Stay with me, because next I will show you how to recognize the voice of guidance, how to test it, how to follow it without strain, and how it becomes the quickest cure, the beeline to your blessing. Now that you have set your daily order and clothed yourself in the seal of immunity, I must draw back the curtain on the final secret, the swiftest medicine, the shortest road to your good. And it is this: obedience to intuition. For decrees establish the law, pictures feed the subconscious, daily rhythms shield the mind, but intuition is the golden thread that ties heaven's design to your every step. And here is the pitfall most people tumble into. They speak the word, but then ignore the nudge. They declare divine order, but then override the still, small voice. They wait for fireworks when the spirit whispers in a feather. And so they miss the beeline. They walk the long road when the straight path was laid before them. Why does this matter so much? Because God does not only rule in thunder, He rules in details. He speaks through the soft prompting, the gentle direction, the holy suggestion that seems almost too small to matter, yet obeyed. It leads to the exact door, the right provision, the perfect step that confirms the decree. Ignore it, and you may wander in circles, straining and questioning. Follow it, and you discover that the supply, the answer, the cure, was waiting just around the corner. So what is the move? It is to treat every intuitive nudge as sacred, to obey quickly and without debate. I speak the word to establish the order, and then I listen, not with strain, not with hunting, but with a quiet trust, and the lead comes. It may be as simple as, drink this water now, or step outside for air, or call this person, or wait 1 hour. The world says such small things mean nothing, but the wise know that spirit hides the beeline in the humble step. I do not script the how, I only decree the what. I say, divine order is established in my body, and then I listen, and when the Christ within whispers, rest, or walk, or release this thought, I obey. This is the bridge between the invisible word and the visible manifestation. It is not strain, it is flow. It is not force, it is guidance. And how do I know this works? I will tell you a simple story. A student once faced a frightening delay in her affairs. The numbers looked bad, the reports spoke trouble, and though she declared divine order faithfully, she found herself restless, waiting, doubting. I told her, cast the burden, speak the order, then listen. The next morning, she felt the softest nudge to take a walk instead of worrying over papers. On that walk, she met an acquaintance who happened to know the very channel through which her answer came. Within days, her situation was resolved, without strain, without bargaining, because she obeyed a small whisper. Another time, a man stood at a crossroads of health, fearful and worn. He declared the law, but then he heard in the stillness, rest tonight, not tomorrow. And though it made no sense to his busy mind, he obeyed. And the very next day he was led to a channel of relief that would have been missed had he pushed himself 1 more hour. The shortest road is obedience. The quickest medicine is the word married to the step. Let us practice it now, because intuition is not learned by theory, it is practiced by stillness. Place your hand on your heart, breathe once, and speak with me. Divine order is established in my mind, body, and affairs. Now. Then fall silent for one moment. Listen. What small nudge comes? Do not strain for it. Do not hunt. Just notice. Perhaps it is to rise and drink water. Perhaps to forgive. Perhaps to let go of a certain thought. Perhaps to rest. Whatever it is, honor it. That is the Christ within speaking. The still, small voice aligning your step with the decree. Remember the rhythm. Why? Because without obedience, decrees hang in the air, waiting. What? Treat intuition as sacred instruction. How? Cast the burden, decree, then listen in stillness and obey the simple step without debate. This is the beeline. This is the medicine swifter than any outward scheme. And as you walk in this practice, know this also. Obedience is doubled in power when it is joined by agreement. When two or more voices speak the same decree, when two or more souls align their faith. Because the word says, "If two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything they ask, it shall be done for them." And agreement multiplies the force of intuition. Stay with me, because now I will show you how to find that faith friend, how to speak together, and how agreement turns a single spark into a holy fire. Now that you have heard how intuition is the shortest road, let me open to you the multiplying law of agreement, for this is the part that many neglect, yet it carries a force beyond what the lone decree can do. One voice declaring truth is strong, but two voices in harmony are a trumpet, a shout, a sound that shakes the unseen and compels order into the visible. Scripture tells us plainly, "If two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them." And that is not a figure of speech. It is a law, as fixed as gravity. Why does this matter? Because there are times when the single soul grows weary, when doubt whispers louder than decree, when the imagination is tempted to paint again the wrong picture. And in those moments, one agreeing voice can lift you, steady you, amplify your decree until it pierces the veil of fear. Without agreement, you may stumble back into silence, but with agreement, you carry the sound of two witnesses, and by the law of the Spirit, in the mouth of two or three witnesses, every word shall be established. Get this wrong, and you isolate yourself. You fight alone, you grow faint in your declarations. Get it right, and you step into multiplied power, the kind that moves quickly, the kind that cannot be resisted. So what is the move? It is simple. Find a faith friend, one who will not argue with appearances, one who will not pity you with human talk, but who will speak the law with you as though it is already finished. You do not need many. One is enough. When fear rises, when a report arrives, when your blood feels troubled, call that friend and say, "Let us agree and speak together. We agree. Divine order rules this body now. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now. Speak at once, calm and royal. Then thank God it is so, and hang up." Agreement does not mean long prayers. It means harmony, unity, two voices sounding the same note until heaven and earth answer. This practice connects to your deepest longing, because what the fearful heart wants most is companionship in faith, not in fear. Agreement turns loneliness into partnership, isolation into power, doubt into certainty. And how do I know this works? I will tell you a story. Once a woman came to me trembling. She had spoken her decrees but felt weak. The fear was loud in her ears, so I told her, "I will agree with you now." We stood, and I said, "Divine order is established in your mind, body, and affairs, now." And she repeated it with me. We said it once, calm, no shouting, no strain, and then we thanked God together. The next day she wrote to me. The fear broke like glass. I felt a peace I had not touched in weeks, and within days her situation shifted. Not because I carried her, but because the law of agreement multiplied her word. Another time, two students prayed together for one who was ill, and they agreed, "Divine love fills every cell with light. Divine order governs this body now." They said it once, with perfect unity, and the person later told me, "The very moment you agreed, I felt a rush of calm flood me, and I knew it was done." That is agreement power. Now let us practice it, even here, across distance, because spirit knows no walls. I will speak, and you repeat, and together we agree. We agree. Divine order rules this body now. Do you feel that lift, that doubling, as though your word carries more weight than when you spoke alone? That is the law of agreement answering. Use it whenever you feel faint, whenever you want a quicker current, whenever you want the sound of two trumpets instead of one. Remember the rhythm. Why? Because one voice may grow weary, but two voices in harmony cannot be resisted. What? Agreement in decree multiplies the force of the law. How? Find one faithful soul, speak one decree together, thank God, and rest. This is the multiplying power, the cord that shakes the unseen into order. And now, my beloved, you have walked the whole path. You have learned that your word governs your blood. You have seen that divine order is the shortest way. You have practiced casting the burden. You have spoken decrees into your body. You have cleansed your imagination with the right picture. You have set a daily drill and sealed yourself with immunity. You have listened to the still, small voice of intuition. And now you have learned to multiply your decree through agreement. The circle is complete, the law is established, and you are covered on every side. Stay with me just a little longer, for we must seal this lesson together. I will gather the threads into one strong rope, place the final affirmation on your tongue, and open a door for your next step, so that when you leave this moment, you will carry the shield, the sword, and the lamp of truth into every hour of your life. And now, having walked with me through every chamber of this teaching, having seen how your word sets the law, how divine order is the shortest path, how the burden must be cast, how decrees for your blood and heart and nerves carry power, how the picture must be cleansed, how a daily rhythm anchors your day, how the seal of immunity guards you, how intuition gives the beeline, and how agreement multiplies your strength. You are ready to stand clothed in truth from head to foot, lacking nothing, for you have been given the sword, the shield, the lamp, and the song. And I say to you plainly, you need not fear appearances again. You need not tremble at numbers or reports or whispers in the night, for you know now that your body is a servant, your word is its master, and God is the architect who has already drawn the perfect design. The world may shout, but you have learned to answer with law. Fear may knock, but you have learned to cast the burden. The mind may wander, but you have learned to cleanse the picture. Your tongue may falter, but you have learned to return to your daily drill. Shadows may approach, but you have learned to wear the seal. Doubt may whisper, but you have learned to follow the still, small voice. Loneliness may try to weigh you down, but you have learned the power of agreement. You are not at the mercy of appearances. You are not a beggar at the door of health. You are a child of God, speaking with authority, standing in dominion, clothed in peace. Let me tell you why this matters so deeply. Because until you claim this, you will live at the mercy of fear, you will let appearances drive you, you will let other people's words set the rhythm of your body. But when you claim it, when you say with your whole being, divine order is established in my mind, body, and affairs. Now, you step out of the prison into the field. You stop playing the part of the defeated and take up the crown of the victor. You cease begging and begin reigning. For this is the destiny of every soul: to walk in the rhythm of divine law, to bless and not curse, to command and not complain, to speak life and see life obey. So here is your final decree, the seal of this whole lesson, the sentence that gathers everything into one. Speak with me now, slow, steady, certain. Divine order is established in my mind, my body, and my affairs now. Again with weight. Divine order is established in my mind, my body, and my affairs now. And once more, like a queen or king sealing a letter with a signet ring, divine order is established in my mind, my body, and my affairs now. Feel the hush that follows. That is not imagination. That is the law answering. That is the word going forth, and it cannot return void. And now I leave you with a challenge, a holy charge. Refuse idle speech today. Refuse to joke against yourself. Refuse to paint fear pictures in your mind. Instead, bless your blood every time you think of it. Speak order every time you feel disorder. Cast the burden every time fear knocks. Act as if it is settled, because in God it is. Walk as if your blood is already in order, because by law it is. Sleep as if you are already safe, because under divine love you are. Let every act be a ditch dug in the desert, expecting rain, and you will see the flood of life fill every channel. And if you want to go deeper still, if you want to learn the law that cancels fear at the root, the law that hides in plain sight, then follow me into the next lesson. Replace the picture, replace the problem, where I will show you how to swap terror for truth in an instant, how to take hold of the law of substitution and turn every dark image into light. Don't delay, because every moment you spend in the wrong picture, you give it power, and every moment you spend in the right one, you multiply life. Click through, and let me place the exact words on your tongue that will uproot fear at the root. Now, as you rise from this hour, remember this: your blood is obedient, your heart is steady, your nerves are calm, your mind is guarded, your day is ordered, your night is safe, your path is guided, your word is law. You are clothed in divine order, and nothing can touch you but God's good. Amen. I thank God it is so.